welcome to Talent Talk 2021. In this list management series, both Greg and I will be discussing the list management strategies of each AFL club and the direction that they will take in 2022 and beyond to build a premiership success. In episode 1, we look at North Melbourne Football Club and the Adelaide Football Club. Enjoy.
The ball in, Davies Uniacke, little fend off. Wise ball used to Powell, inside kick, almost Larky, almost Zerha. Oh, zip, zap, Zerha!
Running past the handball, they don't, so he's forced to kick it. He strikes it, he gets a good purchase. It's going to go to Goldstein. The Twin Towers, they couldn't quite bring it down. And then the tackle on Marnie, and here is Phillips. The youngsters are stepping up for the Royals. That's his first goal in AFL football.
Smith so dangerous. Simpkin came in. Cunnington. Davies Uniacke. Lazaro, where does he go? He's got Larky open wide. Takes everyone on. Lazaro finished the job. Yes, he does.
Zerha tracks the ball back. Now Anderson. Had options galore. Stevenson's got an inordinate amount of space. Steps around. Bit of this, bit of that. High ball, needs to kick it. Stevenson for his third. And does.
Coming in, the beautiful kick of Will Phillips just caresses it. Didn't quite hit the target in Anderson on that occasion. His kick to fall forward. Larky takes the mark.
Curnow kicked a rip up. He was 200 just before half time. Boston Balagi now breaks free. Drives it towards the pocket. Larky's in position again.
Now they've just got to hold this up here a little bit, and they've got Atley now with the handball over the top to Mackay. They're at the back. They're out in numbers. All he's got to do is look up and kick it. Stevenson's there. He can shepherd. He does. Zerha into the open goal. He's on the tight angle, twisting, turning. Cam Zerha! Yeah! He's put it through. Great play by the Kangaroos.
The kicking's been good. Yep. 74% for the game.
Well pinpointed to Simpkin. He goes to Thomas to make it 7 for the term. Taron Thomas! That'll do! The room!
Lucky. Tiny little toe poke was nice. Taron Thomas waiting for this. Bends it. It's a wow factor in that. Just got to kick it to where Haynes ain't. High. Danger. Marnie! Finds the ball. Oh, he slipped. The dog step didn't work. Marnie. Thomas. Davies Uniacke tries it long. This will hurt. This will be huge. Oh. And he got the spin. The
3 points in it. Marnie tried to force the issue, got it through. Davies Uniacke, the feet were dancing. He couldn't quite get through, but he got it out. Stevenson with his own moves. Cunnington, he gave it all he had. They have to touch it, otherwise, North are in front.
And welcome to episode 1. We are going to be looking at North Melbourne, who are currently sitting in 18th position, and they will finish with the wooden spoon in 2021. So their ladder position this year will be 18th. Their list size in 2021 is 44. That gives them 36 on the senior list. They've got 7 rookies and 1 category B. 2 players they selected in the mid-season draft was Jacob Edwards from the Sandringham Dragons as a ruck forward and Charlie Ham from the Geelong Falcons as an inside midfielder. Both players missed out on the 2020 draft, but were lucky enough to be selected by North Melbourne, including Jacob Edwards, who was selected as pick 1 after a very solid start to the NAB League season. The average age for North Melbourne in 2021 was 23.7, which is the 17th oldest list in the AFL. And their average games was 56.8, which is the 14th most experienced list in the AFL for 2021. We are going to look at the list management masterclass. So what was the biggest move that North Melbourne and the best move that North Melbourne made in the 2020 off-season? We felt that their best move was their trade with Collingwood. So Collingwood received North Melbourne's pick 26, 33 and 70. They bundled up for Collingwood's points. North Melbourne received Jaden Stevenson, a former pick 6, R2 Boston Blagi, and pick 39, which ended up being Phoenix Spicer, a pocket dynamo midfielder and small forward from South Adelaide. The age profile for North Melbourne in 2021, they had 25 from the age of 18 to 22, 7 from the age of 23 to 26. In their peak age of 27 to 29, they have 8, and they have 4 in the age bracket of 30 plus, that being Todd Goldstein, Robbie Tarrant, Aaron Hall, and Jack Zeeble. Now we look at their list in 2021. So their A-grade talent, we feel, is Todd Goldstein. Still at the age of 32, he's in his prime as a ruckman. Still one of the best ruckmen to ever play the game. Ben Cunnington, very, very good inside midfielder, and he's a clearance machine and still is classified as an A-grader. The untouchables for North Melbourne is Aiden Core, who they brought in as a free agent from the GWS Giants. Ben Mackay at 23, Jai Simpkin at 23, Jaden Stevenson, who they brought in at 22, Cam Zurha, who's really come into his own in 2021 as a small forward, Nick Larkey at 22 years of age, Taron Thomas, an absolute gun and a future A-grader at 21, and Luke Davies-Uniacke, who is also a future A-grader. Emerging talent for North Melbourne, Bailey Scott at 20, Jack Marnie at 19, Will Phillips, Charlie Lazaro, and Jacob Edwards at 18 years of age. Their needs in the 2021 off-season is going to be ruck depth and key position players. And 2022 and beyond, we believe that they're going to have to start looking at experience to add to that young up-and-coming list. Greg?
Yeah, so North, they're the type of team that you can see there's going to be a lot of improvement coming from them in the next few years, but they still have a few holes to fill on their list. They are rated the worst defense in the league, so I know they've got some posts down there that have been going okay, but when you look at Tarrant, who's one of the oldest on your list, and you look at Harry Mackay, who's then next? So I think if I was North, I'd be looking at getting the best key position players available and trying to build that spine. Yeah, they've got Nick Larkey, they've got Goldstein, but he won't be around for long, and they've got Mackay, but there's still going to be a few gaps there that they need to fill. They also need to look at getting games into as many young players as possible. So some of these older players that are there now that are playing, that's fine, but they're not going to be there in 2 or 3 years. So it's time to start blooding as many youngsters as possible. I know they have done that this year with trying to minimise the damage on field, so to speak, but is it going to hurt you in the long run? You're already going to finish down the bottom this year. So next year, it's going to be interesting to see which route they go, if they keep giving the older guys games to try and minimise the damage on field, or if they look really long-term and start blooding players that may not be 100% ready yet. What do you think on that, Brenny?
Yep. So in terms of the list in 2020, they actually turned over 15 in their list, and losing experience such as Ben Brown and Sean Higgins, who ended up going to Geelong. But they turned over 15 on their list. So they didn't have really a choice of blooding the younger players in their list. And in 2021 compared to 2020, so it was a drop of 0.9 in the age demographic and a drop in 10.6 in their games experience. So it does show a big drop, but that's the direction that North Melbourne are going to be taking in the future. If you look at their depth on their list, so in that peak age bracket of between 25 to 29. They've got a lot of role players. So you look at the players that they've kept on the list, like Atley, Jared Polek, Dom Tyson, Jed Anderson, Garner, and Dumont. All of them between that age of 25 to 29 are more role players than more line breakers. What they need to add is that experience of line breakers in that age group. I know they tried to do that with Jared Polek and it hasn't come to fruition, but they need to start looking at that sort of age bracket and continue to fill in those roles. And they tried to do that with Aiden Core. Unfortunately, with Aiden Core, he's had a lot of injuries, and same with a lot of the others like Polek and Dom Tyson. Dom Tyson being a former pick 3, and he should have hit his peak by now, but unfortunately injuries have taken its toll. They do have ruck depth in Tristan Zeri, but he is only at 22 years of age. So they are going to continue to look for that youthful experience, and they'll probably look at that 23, 24, 25-year bracket to add to that list in 2021 off-season.
Well, particularly given he's one of the few experienced heads that they've got down there.
Not stopping it at the moment. He's got it going. Jimmy Rowe from the pocket. What a chance he's got here. He's going nuts already. Oh, look at that. He's bursting.
Oh, the senior players started it to begin the game.
Big challenge today against Riley O'Brien.
Goldstein tries to palm it down. Lazaro goes without it. A hurried kick by Seedsman. Puts it out in a one-on-one. McAdam takes after it. Hayden's got the match up on him. Wheels around into trouble. Into Tex. Gone. 1 goal for this year for Murphy. Make that 1 goal. Still the mark right on the line by the big man Riley O'Brien, and he just casually soccers it through. Kelly likes what he looks at. Further down the ground, McHenry, it sits for him. He could have given it off to Seedsman. He drew the defender. Seedsman missed from here a few moments ago, but this is an open goal square beckoning.
Good score from Fogarty. Through Duday and Shoal. And then it's Laird with the kick into the 50. Walker the clean take. Expectations rise as McKay uses the left perfectly. The centre half back. Shoal showing the propensity to kick the ball out of the air. Jones hairs after it. Jordan just slightly lost his footing, but not his composure. Laird though a handball. They're inside. Berry to Keys. does.
Ryder, important ricochets back. Thilthorpe over his head, hoping for some magic. He's produced it. The Crows have produced a miracle. Now can they hang on?
And the next team we're going to look at today is the Adelaide Crows. So they can't finish any higher than 17th on the AFL ladder. Their list size for 2021 is 46, which is 36 on the main list, and they have 8 rookies. In the mid-season draft, they picked up Patrick Parnell, who missed out on the draft in 2020. He's from the Murray Bushrangers and is a defender that adds to their depth. Their average age in 2021 was 23.6, which is the 18th oldest list in the AFL. And their average games is 54.0, which is the 16th most experienced list in this year. The List Management Masterclass. So we look at the List Management Masterclass from the team in the 2020 off-season. And we cannot go past Riley Thilthorpe. So Riley Thilthorpe was their pick 1, and he's had a very, very good season so far with a couple of breakout games, including against St Kilda, where he kicked 5 goals. We know Adelaide Crows did nominate to pick up Jamara Ugle-Hagan, the Western Bulldogs Next Generation Academy pick. However, they had the eye on Riley Thilthorpe, being a homegrown talent from West Adelaide. He's 201 centimetres, and he's a ready-made player to play as a key position post up forward and to back up Riley O'Brien in the ruck. The age profile for Adelaide Crows in 2021, they have 26 players in the age bracket of 18 to 22. They have 10 in the age bracket of 23 to 26, 5 in the peak age bracket of 27 to 29, and they have 30 plus, they have 5 in that age bracket, including retirees already in Bryce Gibbs. They also have David Mackay, Rory Sloane, Taylor Walker, and Tom Lynch, who has been delisted effectively and not offered a contract in 2022. They've also turned over another 2 players this year already, in Tyson Stengel being retired prematurely at the start of the year from some off-season discretions. And they've also moved on David Talia. Looking at their list as a whole in 2021, A-graders, unfortunately, we believe they have none at the moment. However, there is room for some A-graders to start developing, which we will touch on. The untouchables at the moment for Adelaide Crows are Rory Laird at 27 years of age, Riley O'Brien, who is really coming into his own as their ruckman at 25, Ben Keys, who has had an outstanding year for Adelaide Crows at 24, Tom Doedee, Elliot Himmelberg, and Darcy Fogarty. Now, Tom Doedee and Darcy Fogarty, we believe, are going to be future A-graders for the Adelaide Crows, especially Darcy Fogarty, who is starting to really come into his own at 21 years of age and following the path of that Dustin Martin, Christian Petrarca, and Jordan De Goey mould. Their emerging talents in 2021, we feel, is Jordan Butts, who's held down that fullback role for the entire season. Other players such as Lachlan Scholl, Harry Schoenberg, Ned McHenry, and as we touched on, Riley Thilthorpe. Their depth for 2021 that they will look in the off-season is the depth, and 2022 and beyond, they will be looking for experience to add to that young list. Greg.
Yeah, so Adelaide are going to be an interesting case, Brendan, because at the start of the year, they were 3-1, 4-2, and we thought the pennies dropped. But as the year progressed, they started to get a few off-field discretions, and the feeling in the group seemed to change. And they started going from a team that was filled with belief and young stars that then started to die off more and more. They had a good win over Melbourne mid-year, and I think Adelaide overall, they're kind of at a tipping point where the young players they've got are going to be really, really good moving forward. But their older generation, obviously they've had a few retirements and a few players that will probably not be there for much longer in the next year. So they're going to have a gap there that they're going to need to fill. So either they're going to have to go to the free agency market and try and find someone there, or they're going to have to go to the opposite end and just go back to the draft and continue to blood. And they're kind of in a precarious position because with their current top-end list, I don't see them going up the ladder. And with their mid-year or mid-age talent, I don't see enough stars there to really push up the ladder. So, yes, they've got some really good young guns in that 21 to 18 bracket, but I believe their mid-20s bracket, they're hacking overall. They've got a lot of role players, but no out-and-out line breakers. What do you think?
Yeah, well, we see a lot of their mid-range talent. So Rory Laird at 27, Riley O'Brien has now basically become a leader. You've also got the likes of Brodie Smith, who's that 28, 29 age bracket. Jake Kelly at 26 has been around for a while. So they're going to be your future leaders of the Adelaide Football Club. But then you've got and a lot of those younger players. So, you know, we didn't mention the likes of, you know, a Shane McAdam or a Will Hamill at that around that 20 age bracket, and they're the emerging talent as well. So we feel that the Matthew Nicks is going to continue to look for that youth through the draft. I don't see them really going that experience pathway. The fact that they already turned over 11 players in 2020, and they've had a drop in 0.3 in age from last year and a drop in 3.8 in games average. So I see them still blooding youth, and it's going to be a long process for the Adelaide Football Club, because Matthew next sees about a 5-6 year plan for them to be real contenders in the future for a premiership success.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with that in the regards of timeline, but I'm looking at players, say, like Fisher Makasi. We've got probably Tyson Single, Billy Frampton, Shane McAdam. These kind of players, do you see them going to that next level to be A graders? Do you think they'll be role players for the remainder of their careers? Because when I look at their list, I mean, don't get me wrong, they do have some talented kids there, but I don't know if I see them becoming out-and-out stars, which is probably what they need. They're going to lose probably Crouch again in the off-season. All their older players, which were their stars like Walker and Sloan, they're all starting to have less and less impact on games. Do you think they've got enough talent on their list currently to start making a push earlier than that?
Yep. So as you mentioned already, so Matt Crouch, there's been rumours already for him to ask for a trade at year's end. I reckon that will end up happening, but you could also gain a bit of currency with Matt Crouch leaving the Adelaide Football Club. And he is only 25, 26 years of age, so you can get a bit of currency there. But Adelaide do have a lot of role players and not a lot of line breakers as per se. And if you look at where Matthew Nicks has come from his playing days through the Sydney Swans and his other coaching, assistant coaching, such as at the Port Adelaide Football Club, there have been a lot of role players. So he comes from those sort of system-based coaching structures. So I see Adelaide continually building on those list management role players until they find a couple of those A graders, and they will develop from within. As we've mentioned already, Darcy Fogarty is going to be a future A grader. Riley Thulthorpe, a future A grader. The locks of Tom Doedee, who's going to be, the defense is going to build around him for the future. And then you're going to add a few like Elliot Himmelberg as well, who's going to be close to a future A grader, being that he's only 22, but he's already a key post for the Adelaide Football Club. So I see them starting to build a midfield core and even give more midfield time to the likes of Darcy Fogarty, because he does have those attributes to be an A grader, similar to a Dustin Martin mould.
Well, I think, I hope, I should say, for the Adelaide supporters that we start to get to see some more good drafting done by them in this off season, and I'm still hoping that they can get some players in that age bracket. If they lose Crouch, they're going to need some more players to fill that age bracket for now. So hopefully, in the free agency market, they can pick someone up for nothing.
Yep. So that wraps up episode 1 of List Management as part of our Talent Talk. Stay tuned for the second episode, where we'll be looking at Collingwood and the Gold Coast Suns.